Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the round table. I'm Ben Hedges, and I'm here in the studio with Holly Kellum. Welcome, Holly.
Good to be here, Ben.
And we are talking today about X being shut down in Brazil. If you don't know what X is, it's what they call Twitter these days.
I still call it Twitter. I don't know about you.
So what exactly happened?
Yeah, so first it started with a judge's order. There were certain accounts that this judge, under very far left leader, Lula da Silva, he has called these accounts troublesome because they supposedly spread misinformation and hate speech. I think from the outside, it looks like a lot of these are supporters of Jair Bolsonaro, who
That's the previous president,
That's the previous president. He was on the right, Lula da Silva is on the left. This judge has gone after his supporters, and I think initially Elon Musk's representatives said they would comply with the order, but then Musk has basically been fighting on X with this judge, calling him a dictator and saying, he's not going to censor free speech. He's called himself a free speech absolutist. It came down to this: X, or Twitter, had an office in Brazil. And according to X, there was a representative of the office in Brazil that was threatened with arrest if, X didn't comply. And so because of that, X basically closed down this office, to protect its employees. And now the judge is basically saying, well, you have to appoint a legal representative in the country. This is, the case for all. I think, well, I don't know if it's all social media companies or all companies in general, but basically, Musk has declined to do that, obviously not wanting to put his employees in danger. And because of that, the judge has, said, okay, well, you're not going to appoint a representative, then we have to take further actions. Now, they've already fined X, Twitter, over $3 million. But again, this is all being done in secret. Like, a lot of this is not out in the open. It's just like there's some undercover reporting that's going on, which is how we know this. But basically, the judge ordered a ban. And
now Elon's shut down the office, right?
He shut down the office, and to avoid his representatives being arrested in the country.
And then tell us about Starlink, because I know they've also encountered...
So initially Starlink was, Starlink, this is its model, right? It operates in places where, the governments control the internet and can block the internet, and they provide, kind of...
And if you don't know, it's also an Elon Musk company.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
You probably know that already, but
yes,
just to clarify.
That's important. So initially, Starlink wasn't going to comply with the order. Apparently, for a while, there was access through Starlink, but then Starlink said that Brazilian authorities froze its assets, prevented it from doing any financial transactions in the country, and eventually they caved.
So all the other internet service providers had already banned X, right?
Yeah.
So if you went to X,
that's my understanding,
you wouldn't get to the website because at the service provider level, they blocked it. And so Starlink was kind of like the last holdout, obviously owned by Elon Musk, so didn't want to block his own website, but now they've had to comply. Yeah,
and Musk is now talking about how he can't travel to certain countries that don't have, constitutionally protected free speech. I don't know Brazil's constitution, but he says that actually free speech is protected in the constitution there. But I do think you do have to look at cases like Telegram CEO Pavel Durov. He was arrested in France. In case you don't know, Telegram is an app that was founded by Durov, who is a Russian, and he was in Russia for a while.
Telegram, in my mind, is the sketchy one. It's like the sketchy version of Signal.
Well, it's one of those things where he really wants it to be as open as possible. But what the French government is charging is that there was criminal activity that was going on in the platform that he didn't, take care of. And so that's why he's being arrested.
I see.
But I do think you have to look at, could there be other motivations? I just feel like free speech is under attack all across the world, and in previous, in countries that I think previously were champions of free speech, like here in the U.S.
Kamala is saying that she wants to put some restrictions on Twitter, doesn't she?
That there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Probably not as extreme as what they're doing in Brazil, but they want to do something.
Well, we already know the Harris-Biden administration, they asked Facebook to regulate
Biden-Harris.
Harris-Biden. They asked Mark Zuckerberg to, during the pandemic, to regulate certain kinds of free speech, and he has now come out and said that. And we already knew,
now
how much.
his persona has changed to a sort of cool dude kind of look. What's going on with Zuckerberg, right? He's now surfing
midlife
with a
crisis,
can of beer and American flag. It's like he's suddenly a patriot.
Yeah, he started, I don't know, Facebook when he was something like 20, and so I guess this is his midlife crisis.
They've changed the programming in the Android that is Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah, right. Well,
this guy's new emotion chip.
That's right.
That's a Star Trek reference.
Perhaps you should deactivate your emotion chip for now. Good idea, sir.
A lot of these tech companies were founded off of these ideals that I think were very traditional. And free speech, for me, even growing up, I'm not that old, but I remember when, Democrats and Republicans, like that was one thing that really united us.
Yeah,
and I do think there are a lot of, even people on the...
Many Democrats do still support free speech, actually.
I agree.
Just perhaps not the ones that are right at the top.
I agree.
But many senators and Congress people do still support that.
I think so. And I think that, a lot of people deep down in their hearts do want to support free speech. And, according to Zuckerberg, he didn't want to do this initially, but, he felt like he had to comply. And this is always the issue with government regulating speech, right? It's like, well, who decides what's true?
Who decides, Who is the arbiter of truth?
Exactly. And obviously there's going to be half the country, at least in the U.S., that agrees with the president who's in power and half the country that doesn't. And so whoever's in power can kind of regulate.
And then the next time they switch.
And then other types of speech is allowed. That's the problem.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Guys, what do you think? Who should be the arbiter of truth and decide what is allowed speech and what is not? Or do you think we should be free speech? Just me. I will accept the position if it's open. Or do you think we should be free speech absolutionists like Elon Musk? Leave your comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. All opinions welcome. Thank you very much to Holly for presenting this piece.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yes, and subscribe to Newspeak, Holly's channel, where she analyzes the media and how they report on things. I'll put her icon above her head on screen now. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.